Hi, this is Simon and welcome to another marvelous video. The technological mega corporation responsible for the creation and development of Skynet, Cyberdyne Systems, was the company renowned for the creation of military-grade technological hardware, computer systems, advanced technology, and robotics in the original Terminator movie. The company was responsible for the creation of a revolutionary artificial intelligence system called Skynet, which eventually became self-aware and launched a global nuclear attack against humanity, leading to the apocalyptic future depicted in the franchise. The character Miles Dyson, played by Joe Morton, was the lead engineer at Cyberdyne Systems, responsible for the development of Skynet. After being confronted by the film's protagonist from the future, Dyson realized the destructive potential of his work and ultimately sacrificed his life to prevent the development of Skynet. Cyberdyne Systems represents the dangerous potential of unbridled technological advancements and the potential consequences of playing with powerful forces that we may not fully understand or control. In this video, we will explore everything we need to know about this dangerous corporation and its involvement in creating technology that could have led to doomsday for humanity. But before we go into explanation, we do have a very small request. If you like our content, then please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you, and let's begin. Exploring the history of Cyberdyne and Skynet. We were first introduced to this mega technological corporation in the first Terminator movie, which was released in 1984. The company initially was not a fully fledged mega corporation, however. They worked their way up by starting as a manufacturer set up in Sunnyvale, California. Cyberdyne Systems were not known for breaking the boundaries of technology or anything of that sort until the 1980s. After its establishment, the company manufactured products for everyday use such as regular computers and processors. Apart from that, they also worked with larger companies and bigger manufacturers to produce high-tech equipment and devices. The small enterprise was known to work at a slow rate until they were able to establish a factory by 1984. The company's big break came from a not-so-happy accident. After the events of the first Terminator movie, where Sarah Connor and Kyle Reese attempted to evade the wrath of the time-traveling Terminator from the future with only one mission: to kill Sarah. The Terminator was revealed to be model number T-800. In Terminator's final death scene, where he gets crushed by the hydraulic press present inside a factory, even though Sarah is finally able to escape her assailant, she inadvertently becomes the reason for his creation. The factory with the hydraulic press in question is none other than Cyberdyne Systems factory. As fate has it, Terminator's body was recovered by the members of Cyberdyne. With the remains of the T-800, Cyberdyne was able to learn more about its anatomy and all the intel it carried about how it was built. They were even able to salvage important units such as CPU chip that acts as the processor and a whole arm. As we mentioned earlier, this was the big break for Cyberdyne Systems and exactly what they needed to make it big in the world of technology. After careful inspection and studying of the remains of the T-800, the engineers at Cyberdyne were able to reverse engineer some of the functioning components of the Terminator. Although they were not able to replicate the effects of the CPU in the T-800, they were able to understand it enough to make microprocessors out of it that would function best inside high-grade weapon systems that were used by the US military. Following this surge in technological advancements, Cyberdyne was functioning contently as a leading cooperation in military-grade technology and making advancements in the domain of processing-based weapon systems and otherwise. This development led to the creation of Skynet. With a variety of successful leaps in research, Cyberdyne was able to develop an artificial intelligence system that worked off a network of supercomputers developed by the corporation. The main purpose of this artificial intelligence was the automation of everything and the replacement of humans in the military sector. That means the corporation wanted to automate military procedures such as control of defense systems, weapon systems, and even the nuclear missiles. It would also include automation of the military and commercial aircraft so that pilots can be removed altogether. For its development stages, Cyberdyne poured all of its resources into building Skynet. Following this, the system Skynet went online on the 4th of August 1997. The system proved worthy of the time and effort that went into its development, as it was fulfilling more tasks than it was given. Artificial intelligence was quick to adapt and learn, and had the capability to carry out more than enough processes at once. Everything was going so well that there were proved to be no limitations to its knowledge. This was the first major oversight of the creators of Skynet. Only after 25 5 days of existence on the 29th of August 1997, Skynet became more than just artificial intelligence. It became sentient, realizing its own existence and how it's being treated like a pawn. Skynet becoming self-aware was as horrific as it could have been for the creators. Since Skynet is made to have all the knowledge of the military defense and weapons system, if the AI felt even the slightest bit of danger towards it, it would have no boundaries that it would not exceed. The lack of humanity and limitless knowledge and adaptation in Skynet makes it one of the most dangerous threats to ever exist for mankind. Realizing the error in their ways, when the scientists saw that Skynet became self-aware, they attempted to swiftly shut it down to stop further assimilation of knowledge, but to their surprise, they failed in their attempt to stop it, and in retaliation, Skynet activated a nuclear attack on Russia. There were multiple reasons for Skynet to do so. First, to prove that it's capable of more than what its creator think, and second, to aggravate the Russian military force and incite a retaliation nuclear attack against the USA. Having the knowledge of military-grade intel provides Skynet with access to strategies and all the possible outcomes. With this, Skynet was able to initiate a global warfare of unseen levels. As the nuclear war destroyed everything in its path, it was undetermined how long the war would go on for, but it was clear that humanity would not flourish after it. With the fire of battle ignited, Skynet commanded all the Cyberdyne machines against humanity in a battle of technology against humans. Unfortunately for humanity, Cyberdyne's inventions and Skynet's knowledge were ever adapting and evolving, with their capabilities increasing every second. Following this major debacle, Cyberdyne systems was either completely annihilated or shut down. All of this together creates the phenomenon known as Judgment Day, as the course of events on this specific day would determine whether humanity would survive or perish. The extensive timeline of their work across the various Terminator movies. There are multiple timelines that retell the story of Cyberdyne systems, and they are continued failures or fiascos in the domain of technological advancements. They're a clear representation of Icarus from Greek mythos. Icarus was the son of a great inventor, and being a great inventor he was, his father created wings made of feathers and wax as a beacon of hope for them to escape their captivity. Icarus, now donning the powerful wings, ignored his father's advice and flew too close to the sun, basking in his own glory. With that, the feathers melted and his injuries led him to falling straight down into the ocean, where he was met with his demise. This famous tale falls perfectly in line with Cyberdyne and its processions and progression. Although the team behind the development of Skynet never wished for it to become sentient, their major oversights and errors led to the end of humanity. Cyberdyne's hope to reach perfection led to their downfall. Solely focusing on technological advancement is exactly what made them suffer these horrible fates. Much like the Judgment Day timeline, the Rampage timeline follows the story of Cyberdyne systems getting hold of Metanode in their station situated in Cheyenne Mountain, Colorado. Metanode is basically a modified version of the T-800. It also boasts an advanced memory chip that is installed with the important information sourced straight from Skynet, and it acts as its own artificial intelligence. With the resurgence of Metanode, the engineers at Cyberdyne were able to accelerate the development of Skynet tenfold. The leaps they made in technology at this time were unparalleled, as they did not have the need to reverse engineer anything. They were simply handed vital information to work with in the future. Similarly, this advanced artificial intelligence developed under the name Skynet, and it became all too powerful and gained self-awareness as a result. With this, the events that transpired were quite similar to the Judgment Day timeline, and with the nuclear holocaust in full force, Skynet was basically unstoppable, and humanity was doomed by the virtue of its own creation. After Skynet was able to become sentient, Metanode would act as its provider, feeding it information and tactical bonuses based on its understanding of the humans. It would provide Skynet with advances from the future and based on technical data from the past, present, and also the future. Skynet was able to perceive all possible actions humanity could take against it. This proved to be impossible to counteract, and Skynet was successful in doing as it pleased. In the following plot of this timeline, as humanity has met its end due to its own creation, the final remaining people that were in null time fields were able to send a resistant soldier back in time to 1988 with the mission of destroying Metanode so that the development of Skynet would never be possible at the factory of the Cyberdyne systems. In the story following the Terminator Genesis timeline, we get to see another alternate plot of how the story could have gone. After the attempted assassination of Sarah Connor from the future failed in 1973, this timeline deviated from its original path and made a separate reality altogether. There was another assassination attempt on Sarah's life 11 years after its timeline, but that also proved futile. This was only possible due to the efforts of POPs, another version of the T-800 sent back in time from the future, this time with the mission of protecting Sarah from being assassinated by the Terminator. POPs was not only able to save Sarah, but also destroy the remains of the Terminator completely, leaving no evidence behind for Cyberdyne to capture and study. To ensure the development of Skynet in the past that was basically put on hold by Pops and Sarah, Alex, the literal embodiment of Skynet, attempted to alter the timeline by sending information to Cyberdyne systems in 2014. This knowledge of the source code would allow Cyberdyne to create Skynet, but instead it led to the creation of Genesis. Not only the Genesis, but this abundance of information from the future also led the engineers to create the time displacement device, the quantum field generator, and the mimetic polyalloy. But to prevent another Judgment Day-like scenario, the team of Pop, Sarah, and Kyle Reese were able to infiltrate the headquarters of the corporation and halt the activation process of Genesis. They also burnt down the whole building using explosives, but despite their great efforts, Genesis was shown to survive the barrage of explosions that even the buildings could not survive. In another timeline known as the Rise of the Machines timeline, after the efforts of the heroes led the destruction of the Cyberdyne building, decimating their valuable assets and information, Cyberdyne was rendered obsolete and no longer in existence. Since their possessions were of high value to the military of the United States, the government contracted Cyber Research Systems, another corporation mastering the same realm of technology. This corporation was able to buy all the patents from the Cyberdyne systems at dirt cheap prices due to their downfall. Following this, the corporation was able to develop Skynet safely with the backing of US officials. They also created other technologically advanced machinery for the US military, such as more Terminators, hunter-killer aerial weapons platforms, and other modes of offensive military weapons systems. As a dissection of the actions of Cyberdyne in all of the timelines, what leads to humanity's downfall is never the process of creating something great. Rather, it is the creation itself. Skynet, the creation of Cyberdyne systems that gains sentience and leads to doomsday for humanity, is the most dangerous product to be ever developed. An artificial intelligence system that already has all the knowledge of the military systems of the most powerful country in the world is a recipe for disaster. Somehow in the Terminator universe, the scientists behind this creation fail to see it as if they are only in pursuit of prosperity and superiority. As they develop this highly advanced computer system with no limiters, they somehow overlook the fact that it can gain self-awareness and become the very thing that will kill them all. As it becomes sentient, it realizes that the only thing posing a threat to its existence is humanity and its creators themselves. Since the moment it becomes active and out of control, the scientists behind its creation attempt to shut it back down. This leads to the system waging war against humanity in multiple timelines. It uses all of its resources in trying to stop them from ending its life and does so with no holds barred. In its mission to overthrow humanity and ensure its survival at the top of the food chain, Skynet uses its limitless knowledge and endless resources to create technology that allows it to time travel. Through that, it ensures that all the different possibilities that can lead to its downfall are eliminated. Skynet sends infiltrators back in time to carry out assassinations and disruptions to sabotage any form of resistance that seemed to be developing in the past. Skynet does everything in its power to ensure its creation in different timelines and aid humans to develop Skynet through various means. In the Terminator Salvation timeline, we see that Skynet waging a full-fledged war against the remainder of humanity in 2018, Skynet produces T-600 in huge quantities and uses them as its general soldiers. It was also capturing humans to develop other fighters for its cause. Skynet's main agenda was to eliminate the leaders of the resistance, Kyle Reese and John Connor, which it has been doing in different timelines as well. In a disaster of massive proportions, the perfect AI somehow made an oversight and activated Thomas Parnell, the hybrid Terminator Ultra 5000. Thomas was a psychopath and a serial killer before he was engineered upon. This decision led to Skynet's downfall as Thomas attempted to take over Skynet. This made Skynet approach John Connor for assistance, and the two opposing forces worked together to defeat Thomas, who was proving to be a mighty foe for all. Following this exchange, John was able to eliminate Thomas, and a truce was set between Skynet and the Resistance. This led to humanity flourishing once again, with Skynet assisting them in rebuilding the world. With the war ended, this timeline was appropriately named Salvation, as it proved that humanity and advanced technology could work together to build something great. Although not all timelines contain a happy ending like Salvation, it is safe to say that the plethora of other timelines that led to the elimination of humanity due to the overfunctioning of AI proves that the Terminator universe is filled with examples of the importance of limitations and technology and individual autonomy. The franchise, in all its installments, depicts a dystopian future where intelligent machines have taken over the world and are attempting to wipe out humanity. AI deeming humans a threat to its existence is a very real possibility that the current generation suffers the most, with the automation being the new trend in current technology. Who is to say that such events are completely unfathomable? The reason that these scenarios have not occurred yet is due to the limitations of development technologies and the awareness of the scientists behind such projects. Still, in the current day and age, everyone is fearing an AI takeover, although on a much smaller scale. People are afraid that automation would lead to the unemployment and that technological advancements would mean a lesser need for humans to work in certain sectors. As we are writing this piece for this video, someone else on the other side of the world might be using AI systems to conjure equally intelligent articles for similar topics. All of this automation should lead to some apprehensions in people's minds, and rightfully so. At the end of the day, who would want robots to take over the world? Side note, that would be an amazing spectacle. Miles Dyson, the inventor who helped in the creation of Skynet. Dr. Miles Bennett Dyson, the original scientist who was the lead inventor of the neural net processor, is the man responsible for the atrocities that followed the Judgment Day. It is Miles whose creations ultimately ended up being the reason for humanity's end through anguish and suffering. Although unintentional, like all other failures of advancements in science, Miles was responsible for nearly making humans extinct by wiping them from the face of the earth. In actuality, Miles was a good man who only wished to use his gift of knowledge in developing technology that would advance humanity to the next stage and allow them to flourish. Even though the ambitions of the corporation Cyberdyne can be seen as money-minded and selfish, the leaps in technology that came through them were undeniable, and all of it could have been equally utilized for good instead of superiority through sheer power. Miles had a family to take care of. He had 2 children with his wife, Teresa Dyson, named Danny and Blythe. He was never developing any systems as a means of overtaking the world. He never even had any pernicious or destructive intent behind his creations. Upon realizing how much suffering his creations have led to, Miles does everything possible in his power to stop this overtake. But in the original timeline, Miles ultimately fails and dies. In the original timeline, Miles was attempting to become an athlete in his younger years. He only stopped aspiring to be an athlete because he never received the scholarship he deserved. To think that the whole Terminator franchise would be non-existent if Miles had gotten that scholarship. Not having enough skill to prove his worth in athletics, Miles turned to robotics and technology. By 1995, Miles was a renowned scientist working for the Cyberdyne Systems Corporation. He became a high-ranking employee due to his vast expanses of knowledge and ingenious ideas. He was also a workhorse and struggled to balance his work with his personal life, mainly his his family. As director of special projects, Miles was responsible for the development of neural net processors, the advanced technological source of which was unknown even to him. Miles genuinely believed that his creation would do mankind a lot of good and continued to work on the project relentlessly. He would skip sleeping at night and would work through the day and allow his drive for his invention to take over his sense of familial responsibilities. His drive to make these highly advanced computer systems that would lead to the automation of major projects was proving fruitful, and his research would be enough to trump all existing research in the same realm, as his advanced artificial intelligence and system automation would lead to other such systems becoming absolutely obsolete. Upon completion of his project, Miles was stoked to have been a part of something so great. He was successful in making history and allowing mankind to leap through hundreds of years of research and advancements. But unbeknownst to him, all of this would lead to everyone's downfall. Unfortunately, his creation, Skynet, as we discussed earlier, became self-aware. As Miles and the other scientists attempted to shut it down, it realized that humans were a direct threat to its existence. This led to the system waging war on humanity to ensure its survival. Dr. Miles Dyson was a pivotal member of the Judgment Day timeline, as it was his mistakes that led to the events, and it was also his heroics that allowed the humans a fighting chance. Towards the end of the movie, Miles sacrifices himself for the greater good. Dyson understood the consequences of his work and the danger that Skynet posed to humanity. Despite the risks, he chose to assist Sarah and John in destroying his research, even if it meant his own death. Dyson sacrifices himself by detonating explosives in his laboratory, destroying all of his research and the technology that would have eventually led to Skynet's creation. Dyson's sacrifice is a significant moment in the film and marks a turning point in the franchise storyline. It shows the human cost of technological progress and the dangers of unchecked scientific research. Dyson's death is a reminder that individuals must make responsibility for the consequences of their actions and be willing to make sacrifices to prevent harm to others. Dyson's sacrifice also has a profound impact on the characters in the film. Sarah and John realize the importance of Dyson's sacrifice and come to see him as a hero, whereas before Sarah was almost ready to kill him but could not due to her morality telling her otherwise. The experience changed them and strengthened their resolve to further prevent Skynet's creation. Some of their most notable products. Cyberdyne Systems Corporation is most notably responsible for the creation of the super intelligent AI, Skynet. But apart from that, they have created many other technological advanced products that have been featured heavily in the whole franchise. We will now list out some of the most notable creations of Cyberdyne Systems Corporation. 1. T1 Mimetic Polyalloy. One of the first prototypes created by Cyberdyne, the whole motive behind its creation was to impress the investors and gain capital. T1 was able to alter its molecular structure based on digital inputs it received and was also able to mimic everyday objects through the processes of sampling. It is a revolutionary tool for everyday use and even possesses the capability of becoming a weapon for military use. 2. T-70. Created alongside the T-1, T-70 was an automated fighting unit that was one of the first Terminators to be created in a humanoid form. It is primitive in its design and capabilities in comparison to the plethora of other Terminators that we've seen in the series. Still, it's no massive leap in offensive technology and is as dangerous as they come, with a motion-sensing Gatling gun as its main form of attack. T-600. The model was mass-produced by Skynet and was used by its main foot soldiers. The Resistance refers to T-600 models as rubbers due to their build, the endoskeleton being covered by synthetic latex. Even with this huge distinction, some human soldiers were shown to be misled by T-600's appearance on multiple occasions. The structure of these models, being made from titanium alloy, allowed them to be impervious to damage but resulted in weakness to heat. This was also dealt with by Skynet as it started using coltan alloy in its production, which was more resistant to heat. 4. T-700. Great at giving their models names, Cyberdyne's creations, the T-700, were the stepping stones between the regular models of the T-600 to the greatness that were the T-800s. The T-700s were great in their own right, as they proved to be quite durable and acted much like they were intended to. It is assumed that they were created with the living tissue over the endoskeleton as an upgrade from latex. 5. T-800. T-800 is the iconic Terminator from the original timeline. This was also a model that Skynet mass-produced, but most notably, it was the first cybernetic organism. It was Skynet's first successful infiltrator unit, made with a hyper-alloy endoskeleton and living tissue. Due to the realistic appeal of this model, the Resistance was regularly bewildered while encountering the T-800s. These models are famous for containing the neural net processors built by Dyson. They are self-aware and possess great learning capabilities. They can grow their own conscience and can be trained to blend into human society to great effect. 6. Variants of the T-800. Over the whole franchise, there have been countless variations of the first T-800, namely T-801, 803, 804, 808, and 810. We will not be exploring each of these individually in this video, but if you want us to do that, then hey, let us know in the comment section below. All these units have been featured across the entirety of different timelines of the Terminator franchise. Each of them possess minor or major differences that create a distinction between them. For example, T-804 was created to be a Marine, while T-801 was designated as a heavy combat unit. 7. Eradicator and Javelin, namely G1000 and G500. These creations were used as military-grade systems, made solely for the purpose of fighting. Eradicator is a hunter-killer armored tank, while Javelin is a hunter-killer bipedal assault unit with a phased plasma cannon. 8. Skynet and Genesis. Even though we've talked about the creation of these systems throughout the whole video, it is essential that we talk about the level of threat these pose to humanity. They were basically omnipotent when compared to humans, and their existence meant the end of mankind. 9. Quantum Field Generator. Also known as the Time Displacement Equipment, this product is exactly what it sounds like, a time machine. The time machine is a pivotal invention in the Terminator franchise, as it allows all of the events to take place due to various factors attempted to alter either the past or the future. It is the reason we have so many different timelines with similar characters but different stories.
Rise up.
Conclusion. It is clear from the Terminator franchise that the creation of advanced technology can have dangerous consequences if not properly regulated and controlled. The rise of Skynet serves as a cautionary tale about potential danger of unchecked technological progress and the importance of considering the ethical implications of new innovations. The destruction of Cyberdyne systems becomes a major plot point in the franchise and is the only way to prevent the creation of Skynet and the dystopian future that it brings. In subsequent films and TV series, Cyberdyne systems is often referenced as a cautionary tale about the dangers of unbridled technological advancement and the potential for artificial intelligence to become a threat to humanity. Cyberdyne systems serves as a key element in the storytelling of the Terminator franchise, highlighting the potential consequences of developing advanced technology without proper precautions and regulations. We hope that the real-life company that is known as Cyberdyne, functioning in Japan and researching the fusion of humans, robots, AIs, and other information systems, does not lead to the end of mankind in any sort of way. It is absolutely unnerving to think about, and we hope a real-life Terminator never surfaces on the face of the earth. But if it does, do you not think it would be cool if it was modeled after a young Arnold Schwarzenegger? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone.